Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Climate Accelerators Demo Day. Thank you all for being here. My name is Mido Talhuni. I'll be the host for today's event. I am a member of the capital investment team here at Climate-KIC, working closely with some of my other colleagues who you may know from other events, Guadalupe, Christian, David, Elisabetta, and some of the other members from the accelerator programs. For those of you joining us for the first time, as you're probably aware, Climate-KIC is the IT's climate innovation initiative, which is working to accelerate the transition to zero carbon and resilient world by enabling systems transformation. Since launching in 2010, Climate-KIC has been at the forefront of innovation with the objective of catalyzing systematic change. The Climate Accelerator programs run by Climate-KIC basically boost innovation in sectors, contribute to a net zero carbon economy and climate resilient societies by providing tailored support and training for early stage startups. Climate-KIC runs a number of Climate Accelerator programs throughout the year, which is focused on thematic programs such as circular cities, clean cities, maritime, and so on, as well as geographic programs which focus on different regions within Europe and outside of Europe, such as the Med Accelerator program and the Black Sea Accelerator program. All information around these accelerator programs can be found on the Climate-KIC website. Since over the past 10 years, since EIT Climate-KIC accelerator programs have been launched, Climate-KIC has been a major climate innovator, providing support to a number of innovative solution providers with over 1,600 startups supported since launch. These startups have then gone on to raise an additional 1 billion in capital and have generated 2,300 plus jobs, and of course have had a positive impact on our planet. Today, for today's event, we have a lineup of 10 really exciting startups who have graduated from these accelerator programs and who will be pitching their businesses to a panel which includes some of the most active impact investors in Europe. The startups selected for today have developed different technologies, products, and services that are tackling different verticals within various sectors, such as fashion and retail, solar technology, intelligent lighting systems, and sustainable mobility. So for today's agenda, we will have a few minutes dedicated for the investors to present themselves. Following that, we will have a presentation and a Q&A session with each of these startups. So we have a 4-minute pitch by each startup, followed by a four minutes of Q&A with the investment panel. Once we're done with 5 startups, then we'll have 5 minutes for networking, where the attendees will be able to network amongst themselves. And then after the 5 minutes, we will come back for the remaining 5 pitches. Once the 10 startups have all pitched, then we will dedicate breakout rooms for each startup. There will be a total of 20 minutes, and attendees will have the option to choose each room and go in and interact directly with the founders of these 10 companies. Before kicking off, I'd like to remind all the investors joining us today that we have now launched the new Climate-KIC Accelerator Marketplace, which is a dedicated platform for investors to connect with the startups who have graduated from our accelerator programs and who are currently raising capital. Please register through the link, which you should be able to find in the chat, and please dedicate time for this. There's a lot of startups that are added regularly and who are looking for capital and the right partners to accompany them through their growth journey. So do register and do join our community. So to kick things off, as mentioned, we have 2 of the most experienced impact investors in Europe joining us today. And so I'd like to please welcome Laura Kramer, who is the investment director from Rubio Impact Ventures, based out of the Netherlands. And they focus on circular solutions, healthy living, and people power. We also have Joel Larsson, who is the general partner from Pale Blue Ventures, who are based out of Sweden and who focus on climate tech investing in pre-seed and seed stage startups. So welcome to you both. Very glad to have you here with us. Laura, perhaps maybe you want to start and kick off with a few minutes about yourself. Tell us a bit about Rubio Impact Ventures, your investment focus, and what you like to see when speaking to impact founders and looking and evaluating impact startups.
Sure. Great to meet you all. Excited to be here. Actually, Climate-KIC is a neighbor in our new office, so perhaps I should walk upstairs later to high five with Mido and give you like a new experience in online. But great to meet you all. Rubio has started with its first fund in 2015. Back then, the Netherlands was still the black hole of impact, but luckily we caught up soon. And what we do is we invest since our beginning in companies that solve large societal issues, but with a super smart business model. We really believe that a focus on impact accelerates your financial success. And what we do is we invest in seed stage and Series A. Seed between $500,000 up to 1 million, Series A 2 to 4 million. But ultimately, we aim to be partners for the long run and can invest up to 10 million. And what we always look for is great entrepreneurs that have a scalable solution for a concrete social issue. And I think most companies I've seen around here are tackling exactly the issues I'm looking at within the accelerating the energy transition, making smart use of resources, and ultimately making sure we can live on a happy and healthy planet in the future. So looking forward to hearing more about you later. I think, Joel, up to you.
Hey, super nice to be here. I'm Joel from Payblue. We're, as Mido said, we're a climate-focused venture fund based in Sweden, in the south of Sweden, in a small place called Malmö. It's across the bridge from Copenhagen. We invest in Europe and in the US as a fund. The fund is about $100 million, usually doing investments of around $1 million plus minus in pre-seed and seed. And for us, we believe that basically every process company in the world will be affected by climate change the coming 10 years. And we are investing in those opportunities that will help solve these problems, reducing climate change, or helping us prepare for a new world that is affected by climate change. And we look for, I think one thing that is different with climate is that climate is a global issue. It's affecting the world, and it's actually affecting the world quite unequally in terms of who are affected by climate change. And we think that the solutions to this problem will come from founders that are from different backgrounds, genders, geographies, and I think that is core for solving these issues.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura, Joel. And so we'll now move on to the company pitches, and then following each pitch, you'll have 4 minutes to ask any questions you have with regards to each of these companies. So moving on, I would like to introduce our first company that's pitching today, LEDCity by Patrik Deuss. So Patrik, the floor is yours. Remember, you have 4 minutes for your pitch.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for the intro. And I see it already works with the presentation, so I will just jump into it. So glad to be here. We're a Zurich-based startup from Switzerland, and we're tackling climate change in the lighting sector because we found out that lighting systems today are very inefficient, and they lead to up to 30% of the electricity consumption in a building is like related to lighting. And when we deep dive more into the topic, we saw that we're switching to LED. That's good and perfect, but on the other side, how we control lighting is not really solved today. So we're still using technologies which are about 50 years old. That's like classical movement detectors. We just install them, and what they're doing is controlling light very sluggish. So you just turn the light on in the morning, and sometime in the evening you turn them off, and that's not like an efficient way to control them. And we see there a high potential in energy savings. And so how do we tackle this? So I see the slides are not really perfect, but I just go through it. So one thing is really decentralizing the control so that each light source has its own sensors, its own computer, and make a network out of the lighting system so that you really decentralize and can control the light intensity very precisely. And with that alone, you save about 50 to 70% of energy compared to new LED lighting systems, and about 90% compared to traditional lighting systems. And another benefit is that we having thousands of sensor data out of these light sources, which we can also use to control other systems in the building more efficient, like heating systems, air conditioning, and everything. And we're also very much focused in automating the process, because what we are seeing at the moment is that today's smart lighting systems, they're not really smart. They're wireless and you can somehow connect sensors with lights. But at the end, the user needs to implement a lot of his intelligence into the system. In our system, it's really, everything is automated. You just plug them in, so it's very user-friendly. And the best thing about the system itself is that it pays for itself because of reduced energy costs and operational costs. It pays for itself about after 2 years. So it's really also a good investment case for building owners. But how does it work at the end? To show you a bit more technology. So what we did first is integrating all these different devices into the light source itself. So you have only the light source, you plug them in, and then you have actually the smart lighting system. So that makes it a lot easier in terms of hardware. On the other side, the next step was to control the intelligence, and because it's decentralized, so it's completely a new thing how to develop this control. And that's basically our magic sauce. That's here in the picture with this AI trained algorithm. And then on top of that, you also can have optional a gateway and collect all this data. Like said, you can use these informations from the building to control other things more efficient in the building as well. So that's a bit the 3 steps which we're developing. And now when we come back to the financial part, so the total costs of ownership of the product is about 1/3 to 1/4 of the price which you have with traditional lighting systems today. And that's mostly because of the lower electricity cost, maintenance costs. But as you saw, there are a lot less devices, so you have also less installation costs, less planning costs. And also in material, what you're investing as an owner in the beginning is not that a lot higher, because you have less devices, so you have also less costs. So at the end, it's really also an economical solution. That's also why we have already over 300 customers, mostly in Switzerland at the moment. And that's customers with a large portfolio of real estate, like AXA, insurance, or clients like that, which we are working together. And we're like 4.5 years old. We were mostly bootstrapped till 3 million revenue and 30 employees. And now we did the seed financial round in the beginning of last year. We're planning now the Series A rounds to the end of this year, and we'll be in the 2-digit lower million area, which we're trying to raise. And yeah, I'm looking forward to meet a lot of new people here in this chat and to answer now the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrik. Very, very interesting business, and congratulations on getting this far with very limited capital raised. Yeah, Laura and Joel, any particular questions you'd like to focus on?
Happy to jump in. Thanks, Patrik. Super good presentation. The first question I have is basically the breakdown of to understand one of the slides a bit more. You said there's a lot of savings in electricity. Is that Sorry, hang on for a second. Sorry, my phone rang. Is that compared to what are you switching from at that point, basically?
Yes, no, the slide before there was the traditional system. That's like the old lighting systems. If you compare to newer LED systems, it's like said about 50 to 70% in energy savings alone, and the traditional one are 90%. But okay. You have a lot. Real estate is a very old business, so you have still a lot of these old technologies. But still, we need to compare to the best at the market today. So I understand your question.
And in terms of how large part of the market have transitioned today from the old systems that you have 90% efficiency gain from to the new ones?
I would guess about 30% at the moment.
Okay, cool. Yes. And congrats on building this so far and getting 3 million revenue. That is amazing. Very few startups reach that point, so congrats on that.
Thanks.
What is the challenges growing further from this? Like, what are the challenges scaling this to when you talk to venture funds looking for billion-dollar outcome type of companies? What is the challenge in scaling this to become very large?
Yes, it's a good point. We already had a meeting about that yesterday. So we now have a new CEO, which is from a traditional lighting company, which has the expertise. How does a company like we are looking with 600 employees? So he's now also in the team, and he knows how the structure needs to be to be really scalable, because at the moment we're 3 young founders and try to go up and up and up. And now with him, we have really also a bit, where is the target? And we also have today signed a contract with a new CFO, so also to professionalize the financial area of our company. She will start in 1.5 months. So we're preparing a team, people, business. I think it's to scale the company. It's all about expertise. So we're working there also with the board. And other things is in product development. So we're not only having these light sources, we're also releasing in some months a new sensor module, which we can sell to other lighting manufacturers, so that they can make their light smart with just a small hardware piece, that we are not too much in hardware, so we can focus more on the software algorithmics and everything, which is also more scalable than selling lights.
Thank you, Patrik. Sorry, need to interrupt you here. We just have one time for a quick question. Laura, any questions, or should we move on?
Well, I saved mine for the breakout room. I saw Elizabeth already.
Exactly. So we have time for questions. 20 minutes for questions in the breakout rooms later on. So thanks a lot, Patrik, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interesting questions later on.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
So moving on to our next startup, we have Alchemie by Simon Kew.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So my name is Simon Kew. I'm from Alchemie Technology. So our vision as a company is to deliver a world with zero pollution from textile dyeing and finishing. This is a very big problem. So it's around about 3% of global carbon dioxide emissions. So we're looking to address a very substantial cause of global pollution. The way we're doing that is via delivering our product, which is called Endeavour. So Endeavour is a digital dyeing solution that delivers 85% energy reduction, 50% cost reduction, and eliminates wastewater from the dyeing process. So we think we're very much right place, right time. This is the number one priority for the textile industry, fashion industry. We're going into a very big market. So the market is around about £40 billion worth of machinery. And we're looking to really disrupt a very outdated, primitive in some ways, manufacturing process for applying colours and finishes to fabrics. We already have our machine in market. So we have some early adopter customers who've purchased the machine, and we've already demonstrated the fabrics in market. So you can see a photograph there of the H&M Airtop, which is a polyester-based fabric which we launched earlier on last year. So to explain a bit more about the problem, textile dyeing is a very polluting process. So it delivers over 1 billion tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. It's the number 2 wastewater pollution source on the planet. So it's a very polluting process. Most of this water pollution is acute, so it's local to where textiles are manufactured. Carbon dioxide emissions are significant and growing very quickly. So by 2050, we expect 10% of the world's carbon dioxide emissions will be associated with dyeing and finishing. So it's a really, really big problem. It's the number one priority for brands. So for a number of reasons, mainly consumer pressure. Governments are also changing the way that they regulate manufacturers. The manufacturing is moving out of places like China, moving into lower cost locations. There's a lot of global change, which means there's a big opportunity for new capital, new machinery, new manufacturing processes. More recently, the gas price has obviously really driven a lot of issues in the textile supply chain in terms of cost. And so, so we're really looking to leverage that in the coming year or so to drive adoption of our technologies. In terms of what our technology looks like, you can see a small photograph there on the top right-hand side of our Endeavour machine. This is the machine that's actually now in Taiwan, being commissioned. We've been using this machine for trials and for demonstrations. We've been able to demonstrate 95% wastewater reduction, 85% carbon dioxide reduction, 50% cost reduction for some real commercial fabric examples. And this is really driving significant interest in what we're doing. And just to summarize a bit, this is what we see the future looking like in the textile industry. So this is our vision for a digital factory that delivers dyed textiles with lower cost, much lower carbon footprint, no wastewater, and full digitalization of the manufacturing platform. So I think that might be time. So I guess
thank you. Thanks a lot, Simon. Very interesting. Laura, maybe you want to kick off with the first question?
Yeah, sure. I would love to hear, Simon. Can you share a bit more about your business model? What do you plan to sell?
So we're selling machines. So what you can see in front of you is our product. The product is a relatively high value capital item. The global market for dyeing machines is around about 20,000 machines. And the value of those machines is between £1 and £2 million per line. So it's relatively high value market. The business model is to sell these machines directly to manufacturers, but generally through brands. So brands such as Adidas, H&M, who's one of our investors, are really supporting us to drive implementation into the manufacturing base, which is generally not owned by the brands. So textiles are all manufactured by third parties. Yeah.
Joel, go for it.
Super. I have a follow-up question on the same thing. Like, what is the replacement rate of these 4 billion and 20,000 machines? What is the replacement rate of these machines if you don't replace them to become more climate efficient? You replace them because they're not functioning anymore.
Yes. So the traditional technology would generally be replaced on probably a 10-year cycle.
Okay.
In terms of where we see the opportunity, so we can deliver a really substantial cost reduction. So the capital payback time is 12 to 18 months on our machine, which is pretty impressive. In terms of what's happening in the industry, dyeing is being shut down in many locations and being opened up in new locations. It's moving out of China, moving to Southeast Asia, so places like Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand is where a lot of the dyeing is moving to, Bangladesh, and so many of these countries kind of know about the problem from what's happened in China. You've probably seen photographs of the waterways in China looking dead and polluted. That's a lot of that is the textile industry. They don't want to see that moving into their country. So we see a lot of government level interest in this kind of technology.
Are you selling already?
We are, yeah. So we have a couple of machines in market. So one beta trial site, one showcase site going into Taiwan this year. We have a demonstration system in the UK, and we have really incredible market interest. So we've got really more market interest than we can deal with. We're focusing on closely linked brand manufacturers, so key manufacturers for companies like Adidas, Nike, are our sort of target customers.
It seems you have a super good offer in terms of quick repayment time, and even if you don't go for that, you have high climate impact. That means some brands will go for that. What is the main thing that is blocking you to continue selling and to grow this quicker?
So I guess key barriers to entry are that manufacturers have existing capital. And we obviously have to demonstrate capital payback on our equipment for them to wish to implement it. There is something about the scale of the market and the dispersity of the market. So it's in many countries. Some of those countries are harder to access than others. So China is the number one location for dyeing still. It's about 45% of the world's fabrics are dyed in China. It's quite hard to access market. But in terms of the scale of the market, because it is so big, even if we were to supply dyeing machines to say just Adidas, that's about 250 machines. So it's 300 and something million pounds worth of revenue would be associated with that. So it's a very big market.
Thanks a lot, Simon. We'll have to stop you here, but I also have a couple of interesting questions to ask you, but I'll leave that for later on. So thanks a lot for your time. We'll have to move on now.
Thank you very much.
So we'd like to welcome Fusebox, Tarvo Õng.
Hello.
Yes, hi Tarvo, we can hear you. Not sure we can see
Can you?
the presentation yet, but it is loading.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see your presentation now. We can't see you, but
Somehow you cannot see me. Okay.
no, we just see it last screen. But yeah, for the interest of time, maybe we can just get started and go forward.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Tarvo. I'm the CEO and founder of Fusebox, and we are building a energy flexibility platform. Second slide should come right away. So, perfect storm for us at the moment in electricity markets and energy markets. Decreasing grid stability, favorable for political and regulative changes, and supportive technological advancements, meaning that it is hard to keep electricity systems running everywhere globally at the moment. And it's mainly because of massive installation of renewables and that are volatile. Don't get me wrong, we love renewables, but they are just not always there when we need them. So what is the solution at the moment? Actually, what it is that the transmission system operators who are responsible for running the electricity system are using fossil fuel generators to ramp up the generation in case of deficit in the electricity system, and then they stop again those generators when there's too much electricity in the system, and this is also a problem. And what Fusebox is doing, we are using electricity consumers to tackle this problem, meaning that we can use buildings and different other sites as a battery, meaning that if there is deficit in the electricity system, then we can lower their electricity consumption by using their inertia. So people inside of the buildings don't feel anything. And if there is too much electricity, then we can make the building to consume more, to preheat, pre-cool, whatever it makes sense to do. And Fusebox is a platform between energy markets and smart technologies, meaning that we are not communicating with clients or building owners directly, but we are allowing companies who produce cooling or heating systems, for example, to attach their technology to our platform. So if you buy a heat pump, for example, for your private home or your office building, then this heat pump can right away participate in the energy markets. Next slide. We can use different kind of buildings, EV charging, batteries, also renewable generation, hydropower plants, cold storages, offices, water utilities. All of those have flexibility in them. And we deliver all the information to those who participate in the system in real time. We get them earnings, get them savings, get them CO2 reduction, and we never invoice them by ourselves. We get the revenue from transmission system operators in different countries, and we deliver this revenue to the customers and our partners with whom we are working together with. And this is where the revenue is coming from. Next slide. We are operating in different countries. We are working with technology providers, as said, energy optimization service providers, real estate portfolios, automation companies, and so on. This is the team that we are working together with. We are in different countries, and that's about it, shortly.
Thank you, Tarvo.
Thank you, Tarvo. Super good presentation. I'm going to start with a detailed question that I do not understand, so sorry for not going high first. And that is about the inertia in a building. And usually this solution depends on batteries, but if you would use inertia in a system itself, how much inertia do you need, or how much time do you need for this to work in terms of when you compare this to the demand changes in the grid?
Seems like we've lost Tarvo.
Pity, yeah.
Then
Yep, I think
Yep.
we've lost him.
He's
So,
gone.
so maybe let's just move on, and then we'll leave that question, Joel, for the breakout
super.
room. So moving on to a different startup tackling a different industry, Sepiia by Federico Sainz. Federico, are you with us?
I was thrown out.
I think you're on mute, Federico.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Hi. I was saying that I'm so sorry that I have to pitch from the car, but I'm traveling today, visiting suppliers. So the car is stopped, so nobody has to worry about. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Not yet.
Screen. Yes.
It is loading, so it should be with us in a few seconds.
Okay.
Perhaps you want to start. We'll try to upload the presentation from our side. Federico, maybe you want to just kick off with the presentation, and we'll try to upload it.
But can you see the screen that I'm sharing?
No, we cannot see that. If you stop sharing, we can share it, and then please go ahead and start with the presentation.
I'll go again. Can you see the screen?
No, not yet.
Yes?
No.
No,
Okay.
we cannot see it. Can you maybe just start off, and then we can see if we can share it from our side. But please go ahead. Okay, seems like we are having trouble with Federico. Federico, maybe we'll move on to the next one and then come back to you in the next few minutes, if that's fine. So moving on, I'd like to present Lina Frevel from VAAL Airships.
Hello. Instead of Lina, it's Rauno here.
Okay, so, hi Rauno, welcome.
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me. I'd like to present VAAL Airships, and our aim is to provide internet connectivity similar to satellites, but with much lower carbon footprint and much cheaper as well. And another issue that we're tackling is space debris. When you have systems in stratosphere, you're not in orbit, and you can avoid a lot of space debris, which could be a huge problem in coming decades. So we are making these stratospheric drones, like you can see in a picture, in the form of an airship, and they go to high altitude, but not to space. What's also very necessary to do is to monitor all sorts of climate situations all around the world, chemistries, gas situations, what's happening on the ground, and monitoring some crisis situations more closely. So this is also possible to do, and it's done by satellites currently, but the space debris will be a huge issue in coming decades. What you see here now is all the white dots are satellites. Half of them are old dead satellites. And really big issue is on the low Earth orbit, when you can see the density of white dots closely around the Earth. Now, our solution is to bring these technologies from space closer to Earth, to stratosphere. And you can see our solution in the middle here, the middle picture. The stratospheric systems stay at 20 kilometers altitude. This is much higher than regular air traffic, but around 20 times closer than satellites. and they don't need to move at cosmic speeds, at orbital speeds. They can stay in one spot, which makes available constant monitoring of some areas with very high resolution, much better resolution than satellites, and also makes available very low latency internet. For example, between continents, the latencies can be brought down from the current like 70 milliseconds to 50 or 60 milliseconds. And this has a huge impact on some markets like high frequency trading. But also all these communication solutions and Earth observation solutions, they come with much lower CO2 costs. The business model is starting with one system, one VAAL, or a large whale that flies in the stratosphere. And this is able to provide offshore networking and Earth observation. We have first interested parties in Norway and ship companies that operate off the coast of Norway. The next step would be high-speed communication, and this needs like a chain between Europe and American continents. About 10 of these VAALs will need to address that, or larger clusters as well. And to go to global scale, it needs just a couple of thousand of these stratospheric systems to cover the whole Earth with constant either visual monitoring solutions and also connectivity, high-speed internet connectivity. So the first addressable market is in Norway, but the global hubs market, and hubs are these stratospheric systems. They are high-altitude pseudo-satellites, that's the term. And the market today is estimated at 3 billion, but it's growing, and all the business solutions are not yet evident. We don't know yet what's coming around the corner, what are the next solutions. So this is our team. We have a team with very different backgrounds, technologies from physics and from mechatronics, of experience of building drones and software and hardware, and also some business competence. What we have done before is our team members participated in satellite development. In the Teltech satellite project, we have 2 of these nanosatellites that we made are in orbit. What we are also doing almost regularly now is stratospheric experiments with weather balloons that you can see on a small picture on the right. And we started making small mock-ups of these airships. This is nothing close to the real solution, but starting out these materials testing and development.
Thank you, Rauno. I'm going to have to stop you here, I'm afraid, but sure we have a couple of interesting questions from Laura and Joel.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was wondering whether you could explain a bit more about the Earth observation techniques you're using and how you're dealing, for example, with clouds.
Yes, that's a very, very good question. We can talk about optical Earth observation, but this is restricted by clouds. Optical Earth observation is we can compare us with also nanosatellites. Some companies are making fleets of hundreds of satellites that are in orbit, but the stratospheric system can have also with the same size optical system, which is about like that, can have 10 times higher resolution. And also constant monitoring of 24/7 at one location is also possible, which is not possible with satellites. But if we're talking about clouds and the restriction of clouds, in some areas you also need constant monitoring, but some cases like a couple of weeks you have just cloudy weather and you can't do anything. Then what satellites are using is radar. They're using synthetic aperture radar. This penetrates clouds very easily, can have very detailed image. And this radar system is also possible to use on the stratospheric system. The technology that is needed is that the stratospheric system needs to fly at a certain speed in a direct line. And this makes it available to also do this synthetic aperture radar imaging at high resolution on the ground. So it's possible with these solutions as well.
Okay. So basically similar solutions, but with higher resolution.
Higher resolution because it's much closer, yes.
Super. Thanks for your good presentation and like the approach very much. I have a question about going platform versus vertical offering. Why did you decide to offer services directly in terms of like internet connectivity, for example, and not just build a platform for others to use?
We are thinking about this vertical integration of integrating all necessary technologies and providing the systems and providing the services ourselves. We think that there is so much more potential in growing globally and into tens of or hundreds of times of higher revenues in the end. It is a more difficult path, but because our team members have been thinking about the basic physics solutions, the low TRL systems, also through all these communication technologies that are needed to business cases as well. So we have like ideas covering all these verticals until the final clients. Therefore, we think it's possible to do.
Cool. And quick follow question: How long until you have a larger prototype that is not that is slightly larger than the balloons you're doing today? Like, what is the time frame?
We are applying for grant funding. With 1 year development, we are making a small prototype that has all sorts of technologies covered and good solutions for technologies. But with 2 years, we are planning to make the full-scale prototype, and it takes probably a year or two after that to have a regular flying service in place.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. Thank you, Rauno. We'll see you again in the breakout rooms.
Thank you.
So let's see if we can connect again back with Federico from Sepiia.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me and see me now?
Yes, and we do see your presentation. So welcome back.
I'm so sorry. The connection here was okay, but then suddenly it stopped. So I'm gonna go for it. First of all, my name is Fede, and I've always been fascinated by clothing. Actually, even though I can't see you, I guess all of you are wearing clothes right now. And actually, is the object that we spend the most time with during our lifetime, is the one that protects us since we are born, and the one that identifies us as individuals. As an engineer, I learned that design is actually about solving problems and helping people. And that's precisely what we try to do with Sepiia. And when it comes to the fashion industry, it generates a lot of jobs. Just in Spain, the industry creates more than 100,000 jobs. It represents a lot of the income of the country, but at the same time, it's one of the most polluting industry in the world. So we have a product that is really necessary, that we all wear and use all the time, that generates a lot of wealth and jobs, but at the same time is really terrible, the impact that it creates. And we think there's another way to change the industry, and it's through technology and through innovation. Well, it was a video here, so sorry. Okay, and that's why we founded Sepiia 5 years ago. Our goal is to generate and create clothes, garments that we can all wear during our day, with technology to improve what the user during the day. We introduce properties to the garments like antibacterial, stain repellent, non-wrinkles, non-smells, so the user can feel more comfortable during the day. And at the same time, we manufacture everything locally, from the raw material that we use to make the yarns that we use to make the final garments. We manufacture everything here in Spain and Portugal. And from the very beginning, we set up that the company had to follow the Sustainable Development Goals. And actually, if we compare one of our shirts with a regular cotton shirt, we can see the difference by impact on water consumption and CO2 emissions. And we get this with the high-tech materials that we use to make our garments. This year we became carbon negative, and we have some environmental certifications that prove that what we say is not just something that we believe, but there's science behind all these data and all these numbers. And actually our products are created with recycled materials, and since they are monomaterials, they can be recycled again. So all our products are inside the circular economy, which is very important for us to let resources for the new generations. And I started myself almost 6 years ago, but now we are a team of 20 people, engineers, marketing experts, design people with a lot of experience that are the ones who are able to create the company. We started very small. It took us a few time to develop all the garments. And we've been selling and growing since the very beginning. And what makes us most grateful is that our customers love our garments. They send messages all the time, and they give us a really good feedback, and is the one that keep us on working. And I guess I'm seeing that it's time now for Q&A. Yep. So it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Federico. Really, really interesting approach to fashion. I see some of your products. Really, they also look very good as well. So thanks for joining us today. Joel, Laura, any questions?
Super good presentation, and I love that you prioritize going to customers in front of talking to investors or going to these events. So that is, I think that is the right choice to begin with. And could you break down a bit more about the climate angle on your garments? I did not fully understand the climate angle and why these are so much better.
Sure. So what we do is we for our garments we use high-tech materials that come from recycling materials, and that since they're monomaterials, they can be recycled again. And with all the processes that we create and manufacture our garments, we need very few water to make them. The CO2 emissions are very, very low. And then that happens on the manufacturing process. But when it gets to the customer, it needs to wash the garments 4 times less than a regular garment because of the antibacterial effect on the garment. It won't smell, it won't get dirty, it won't show wrinkles, so you can use it more during more days. And we avoid ironing, which is one of the most energy needed thing in your house. And so we lower the impact during the manufacturing process, we lower the impact during the use process, and then at the end of the life of the garment, it can be 100% recyclable. So we kind of close the loop here.
Have you done any validations regarding the use part?
Yes, we have all this data coming from the customers. We ask them like how many often do they wash their clothes, and how many often do they do it comparing to the regular shirt that they will have at their house. And that's how we try to measure that part. When it comes to the manufacturing process, we can measure everything. We actually do, because we know exactly where the raw material comes from, what machines are we using to make the yarn. Actually, I'm traveling today to visit the yarn factory here in Spain, and we can measure everything when it comes to the manufacturing process. But when it gets to the customer, to the final use, we need to use their data. So we get all the feedback from them to try to get to know like what is the exact time or the numbers of washes that they do with the garment.
And do you plan to really go on as a brand, or do you also expect to deliver your garments as a white label to others?
So we are doing both. I mean, we started as a B2C brand. Our goal was to create these kind of clothes that could help people during the day. And since we needed the fabrics, we developed our own fabrics, starting from the raw materials. And now we have very interesting fabrics that we are using for our own clothes, but we are also collaborating with brands, and we support them with our technology, but they do their own designs. We've been working with a very big brand here in Spain called El Ganso, and we've been creating a collection for them for over a year, and they use our technology. It's El Ganso by Sepiia, these kind of collaborations. And we also collaborate with companies creating uniforms for companies. So we have our B2C company is right now, it represents like 70% of sales, and then 30% of sales right now are on B2B, and we think this area is the one that is going to grow faster in the next couple of years.
Great. Thank you very much, Federico. Really interesting, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions in the breakout rooms. So make sure you have a good connection for that in the next 45
Thank
minutes.
you. I'm so sorry for these weird Pete.
No worries. It happens. So moving on. So we'll just have 5 minutes now for networking, where all entities can network among yourselves. So if you just click on the network tab on the main hop-in screen, you should be able to network with some of the other attendees, and then come back to the stage tab in 5 minutes to go back to the 5 remaining pitches. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you found these few minutes to be interesting. As promised, you'll have more time towards the end for more ongoing discussions with the other attendees and the startups themselves. But for now, I'd like to move on with the 5 remaining startups we have lined up for today. So would like to invite the next startup, Hack Your Closet, by Mikaela, Larsell, and Lisa Gautier.
All right, super. Hi,
We're
nice
waiting
to
for
hear.
Doris coming.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Mikaela. Lisa, please go ahead.
All right, okay, we're not waiting for George to join. He's gone.
Yeah, he'll line in a minute. So yeah, maybe you can just kick off. He'll be with us.
All right, great. Hi, everyone. Really nice to be here. I am Lisa, CEO and co-founder of Hack Your Closet.
And I'm Mikaela, COO and co-founder.
So today we're going to present you Hack Your Closet, the leading clothing subscription running dark closets in Europe. So what we do is circulating clothes among as many people as possible using an operation model close to dark stores, which you have probably heard about, which gives us the opportunity to scale our operations and reach out to a large amount of customers. The way that our service works is our customers, who are mostly women right now, are creating a profile with us. They will share their preferences and a lot of data about the clothes that they wear and the clothes that they want and who they are as customers. And every month they will receive a selection made for them that completely data-driven and has 4 to 5 items. They can wear the clothes for 4 weeks. Before rating them, sending us some feedback, and then returning the clothes and receiving a new selection. And our customers love our service for different reasons. It's convenient. There's a discovery factor that is also adds a lot to the experience, and also for the effort that we've done in reducing our emissions.
We have what we call a guilt-free service, and what we mean by that is what we've heard in 2 similar pitches today. The clothing industry is one of the most polluting industries in the world. It accounts for 10% of the global carbon emissions and 20% of wastewater. And with our service, we're able to reduce that with 97%. We have done LCA calculations, and they are verified by a third party. And we have compared this to average consumption of a person in Europe, which is about 3 items per month, per person that they buy. And that is about 27 kilos of CO2 equivalents per month. We can reduce this by 97%. And we have made this possible by making sure that we optimize our operations, but also maximizing the value of unused clothes, because we know that the most important thing that we can do is to use the clothes that are already produced for as long as possible and for as much as possible. Reuse the resources that are already in the value chain. And we have done this because our closet consists of secondhand, it's overstocks, it's samples, it's dead stocks, it's everything around underutilized clothes. And we are working with some of the largest players in the industry right now to get their stock circulating. We want to scale up this impact as much as possible, and that is what we're doing today.
Yes, we are scaling, and after launching into different European markets, we are expecting to open 5 different markets, including the US, in the next 18 to 24 months. We currently have over 61,000 garments on rotation, some of them reaching out up to 35 different users, and we have reached annual recurring revenue of $1 million US. So right now, we're actually currently raising our Series A, and for those in the audience who are in London, we'll be there next week. We are currently located in Stockholm and in France, but we are really excited to meet some of you and see if there's an opportunity for us to meet. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Super clear presentation.
Thank you.
Can you share a bit more about your customers' feedback? Like, how do they find you, and why do they want to keep on working with you?
Yes, so there are three reasons, because we always survey our customers on why they use the product, and there's three different main reasons. One being the conveniency. So I think a lot of people we are not necessarily working with, let's say, people who are like fashionistas. We work with people who actually have really active lives, mothers, teachers, students who just want to find new ways to actually access clothes. Our subscription is €29 per month, so it's also economically really interesting for 4 to 5 items. So we fit also into that. So we have the conveniency part, which is, you don't have to think about clothes. We do that for you, and we do that well. There's the discovery factor, meaning like, some customers say like it's Christmas every month. And then we have obviously the sustainability angle. Some people really want to change the way they consume. The last part would be a little bit about reducing their budget, but I think how we are positioning ourselves when it comes to what clothes do they want from us is you always have, what we as women we use, we have our ride and die clothes that we have forever, and then things that we don't use because it's seasonal, because we change sizes, because we are changing career path, and we fit into that. We adapt to them, and we help them basically take on new adventures and new personality and new styles when they ask us to do so.
Super.
Go for it, Joel.
I would like you to describe a bit more. There are a few companies trying to solve a similar problem with different approaches. What is the main thing that you do differently compared to other startups in the field?
Yes. So what we do differently is the way we have created operations, and we can dive into that afterwards. But it's also the business model and how it works. We are not, the value proposition, as I said before, is conveniency. It's a different way to access clothes. We're not here to, for example, provide you clothes that you can't afford otherwise. They are, for example, rental model, which we're not really, who propose like the latest latest trends at a lower price, but by default, the latest trends are not sustainable, so you wouldn't be able to actually circulate those items, right? So those platforms create their own issue when it comes to offer and demand. So because we select the clothes for our customers, we optimize that, and we optimize the usage as much as we can, and we're data driven. So I mean, our everything that is happening behind the scene is a lot of engineers and operational hackers just getting things done. I always like to say that we are engineers running closets for people, the same way that other companies like Spotify are not necessarily a lot of music lovers. There's a lot of engineers just understanding how to take a different approach to a problem that is widely a usage that everyone is needed, like music or clothes.
Great, thank you very much, Mikaela and Lisa. Really, really interesting. We'll catch up later on. So thank you for your time for now.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So moving on to our next startup, we have Ciclogreen by Gregorio Jimenez.
Hi, nice to see you. Hopefully you will see my presentation soon. I already, okay, there is. Great, thank you. Well, I'm the CEO of Ciclogreen, and what we do, we help companies to reduce their CO2 emissions, promoting sustainable mobility. Why are we doing this? To solve this huge environmental, social, and economic problem. If I'm able to change the slide. Let's see. Okay, there is a delay. Okay. Most employees keep going to work like that, by car, and they are suffering from stress, but also increasing CO2 emissions and air pollution that kills 7 million people in the world every year. Companies are aware of this problem. They want to change their employees' mobility patterns and behavior, but then they face two main barriers. First one is that there is a lack of motivation from employees to change behavior because they are really used to go to work by car. And the second problem is that there is a lack of mobility data to be able to calculate CO2 emissions related to mobility, and also for cities to improve infrastructure and services. I'm trying to change the slide. Okay, now. Well, we provide a solution to our customers to overcome these two barriers. First of all, a tracking app that allows companies to reward their employees for using sustainable means of transport. How does it work? Employees only have to download the app and that become corporative. That is. Use it to register the sustainable trips to work. Ciclogreen will transform those sustainable kilometers into points redeemable for rewards. And they will join virtual challenges and be able to win, for example, a free electrical bicycle. And that's powerful motivation to change behavior. And at the same time, powerful data, mobility data, that we provide to the city councils, like the City Council of Barcelona, one of our customers, and to companies in terms of CO2 emission reduction. Trying to change. Okay, and next slide, if possible. Okay, Avatos business model is highly scalable. It's a software as a service B2B. We offer a customized reward system for companies for a monthly fee. We were, by the way, part of the Climate-KIC acceleration program, and the product have been improved by 2 other European acceleration programs, Frontier Cities 2 and European Data Incubator. We are offering this solution in a huge market, and it's growing, targeting more than 45,000 large companies only in Europe. The market is growing, and also our sales. We have been able to double our revenue. Could you change the slide, please? Okay. We have been able to double our revenue last year. We are working with big companies like Decathlon, Saphir, or Louis Vuitton. More than 70,000 users. The opportunity is huge, and we have the right team. Next slide, please, if possible, to keep growing this business. I have a PhD in biology, and the founders team have already expertise in financials and marketing and communication. We have a strong developers team, including a designer, and a small but capable sales team. And to get the most of this global opportunity, we are now opening our 3rd investment round, accepting convertible notes. We have already been invested by 3 impact funds, Ship2B, the impact fund from IES Business School, and also Fondo Bolsa Social. And we will focus soon on internationalization. So really happy to answer your questions. Thank you. Sorry for the...
Thank you, Gregorio.
Thank you. I like the approach, and I've anecdotally heard that for IKEA, for example, a large part of the footprint they have is basically the consumers commuting to the stores, and in some way targeting employees or consumers for rent is super smart. In terms of the 70,000 users you have, can you give some example of like a success case where you had a large impact?
For example, Decathlon. We are working with Decathlon at a national level with more than 150 stores. We have there almost 4,000 active users, and they themselves analyze the data, mixing the data from their mobility surveys from their employees and the data coming from an app, and they are selling 460 cars. They are avoiding using 460 cars. We have been working with them for 2 years now. So that will be a user case because they are reducing those CO2 emissions, and because they have a science-based target, we are collaborating for them to reach that objective.
Super.
Could you share maybe how you validate whether people are really changing behavior and not doing like they've always done?
And that's a great question because, of course, we have a lot of users that already were cycling or sharing a car before. What we have done there is asking our users, using a survey inside the app every year, did you change your behavior to use more sustainable means of transport thanks to this app? And 65% of them answered yes. At the same time, we are now helping companies to design their sustainable mobility plan. So we make a survey to our employees, get information and define a baseline of emissions and mobility behaviors, apply our solution, and then have a look to changes. We have been less than 1 year doing this, but we will have soon data about how we reach objectives in terms of reduction of the use of private vehicles. But for example, Decathlon did that themselves. That's because we have already that data.
Thanks.
Excellent. We have maybe time for one more question, Joel.
You're
Sorry,
muted.
mute.
Sorry, what will you achieve on this 250K convertibility raising right now, and where will you be after raising that round?
Our aim is to reach 1 million in less than 2 years, because we want to double this year again our revenue and keep growing that way.
Cool, congrats. That is a good trajectory to raise more money after that for sure.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Gregorio. So moving on to our next startup, and we have Recreate by Linda Vasilisou.
Our aim is to reach 1 million in
Hello,
2 years.
do you hear
We want to
me?
double this year again our revenue and keep
Okay.
growing that way.
Yes.
We also hear your
background.
The
on
echo, right?
stage.
Okay, I will just
You're on mute, Linda. Do you want to try again?
I think you want to mute the main stage.
Linda, can you unmute yourself?
do you hear me now?
Yes, now
Is
it's
it
great.
working?
Please go ahead.
Okay, great. And you see the slides, right? I will try to be very
Yep.
fast. Okay, so hello everyone. I represent Recreate today. We started our business in Romania, so we will tell you about what we did so far in Romania and what is our concept. But our concept is actually addressing the packaging market for online deliveries, and it's applicable everywhere, not just in Romania. I'll just switch through the slides. It works. So we know there are studies made by Ellen MacArthur saying that actually converting only 20% of the packaging to reusable systems is a plus $10 billion opportunity. And this is what we address. We are trying to offer an alternative to traditional packaging into a reuse system. And you probably have heard about other solutions, especially in Scandinavia. They are all familiar: repack, pack around, rezip, and so on. We take a bit of a different approach. We know and we work with these people. We consider them very innovative, and we respect them. They are focusing mostly on the packaging itself and on how can this work through the logistic processes. What we are doing is focusing on a system of returning. How can you actually make sure that these bags or boxes are being reused? Implies that you are making sure that they are being sent back and they are reused for another cycle. So why we think we are different? Because we are looking at the process. So we are looking at the pain points of the main stakeholders. You have the consumers, and they need to integrate the return in their daily process. So we make it very easy for them to do that. We have the e-commerce stores, and this is actually the biggest challenge we consider now in Europe. How can you match the low prices of cardboard and plastic? They are really low, and we need to provide the service which is as cheap so that they can really bring their volumes into another system, right? And then there's the challenge that the logistic operators are facing. How can you make the process in a very efficient manner so that it doesn't complicate whatever they do naturally? So we are doing consolidations, we are doing dynamic issuance of travel orders and so on. And altogether, our system allows us to monetize through a package as a service. We are charging a fee each time a package is being used, and this fee is at par with current prices of single usage packaging. How can we do that? We do it through our platform. We developed already the first version, and I will explain further what we do in Romania. We have the first version of this platform, which is interfacing all the stakeholders and determines processes in relation to them. Just for you to understand where we are, we started about 3 years ago. We developed the first version of our platform. We started with a pilot in Romania on the biggest bookstore. We have an adoption rate which is still there, around 10 to 20% of everyone that sees this option in the checkout. And we are starting January scaling with DPD in Romania. We have a national partnership, And we have right now about a bit more than 1,000 transactions monthly for different verticals, such as books, fashion, baby, personal care, and biofood. So everything which is not fragile. And we have started last year, and we have successful tests, and we still go on in Austria. I'm based in Vienna, but the business is Romanian. We are not many people in the team. We're pretty agile, so to say, but we do have a lot of advisors which joined us from the beginning, but also in the seed round that we had last year in our company. And we are actually raising money. We are raising 350,000 euros for the development of a model which is scalable in Romania, but also in Europe. We are going to put this money mostly in software development, and we expect to become positive sometimes in 2 years, let's say, because we are mainly a software company. And I think this is all. Now we are looking for investors, mentors, anyone that can, give us an advice. And you guys, I'm sure you have a lot of advices as you have seen the environment. We're looking for partners and yeah, any type of feedback. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Just a quick question to make sure I understand correctly. You are targeting now the e-commerce platforms, right? So you really want to replace the cardboard boxing that you receive when you get a package.
Exactly, or single usage packaging, right? Which is not recyclable. So this is what we want to replace, exactly.
Okay, clear. Mm-hmm. I think Joao was also eager to ask a question.
Thanks. My question is more about the how this will scale outside of Romania, and if there are any challenges in Europe in terms of the stakeholders you integrate to in terms of delivery, in terms of returning of packaging, and how this works when you scale outside of Romania.
Mm-hmm. Yes, what we are trying to build up to bring to the European market is a system which is based on collection points. So a place where you can actually drop the bags and they can be easily tracked. There is a similar model, if you're aware of this, in Austria with Alles Gurgelt, it's called. It's the way that people are testing themselves right now for Corona. They are just doing a test at home. There's an interface with the customer, and then there's a drop-off box in a network which is pretty much everywhere in the country, right? So it's a system which implies consolidation, more or less, right? So that's the part that we are looking at, and we are looking to partner up either with retailers or with couriers that have a lot of branches, more or less. The key is really having these spots everywhere available.
Can you talk a bit about the future in like 5-10 years? We know e-commerce is booming and there's going to be way more packaging. How do you think the future looks, and how large part of the packaging chain will you, if everything goes super well, how large can this be basically?
Well, our plan now for Romania, which is a market which is less doing than other markets, is to reach about 7% of the market in 3 years. I am sure that if we go Western Europe, this will be more. The challenge, I think, is really bringing a product which is standardized enough that it doesn't create problems, and it's also cheap enough. That's, I think, the challenge. How can you make a service which is cheap enough? And I think that's the part that we are focusing, and we actually managed to do that in Romania.
Super, thanks.
Thank you, Linda. We look forward to seeing how the business grows in the coming years.
Thank you.
So we have to move on now, and we're moving on to our next startup, SolarMonkey, by Pieter. Jan, are you with us?
Yes. Can you see and hear me?
Yep, now we can, and we see your presentation. So please go ahead.
Perfect. Right. So my name is Pieter. I'm the founder and CEO at SolarMonkey, and the purpose of SolarMonkey is accelerating the solar energy transition. The transition towards more solar panels. And how we do that is we deliver software, B2B SaaS softwares, to installers, suppliers of solar panels that helps them to work much more effectively. And we are now on the market for a 5 million investment round, looking to close that sometime in the second quarter of this year to further fuel our mission. And before diving into exactly what and how we do that, let's dive a little bit into the solar market itself. And you are probably very well aware, but the solar markets are growing very, very rapidly. And we've seen in the past 10 years, it has grown from 23 gigawatt peaks installed per year towards 138 gigawatt peaks per year. So times 6 in 10 years. And this growth is expected to continue in the future and expect to double in the years to come. And well, also with unfortunate events of raising gas prices, a war waging in Ukraine, we see very recently really a surge in solar energy for sustainability, but also because of independence of other sources. So a very, very key topic and a very important topic that we are very proud of driving. However, in this market, there are also a couple of bottlenecks. So even though demand is very high, those bottlenecks are twofold. And first of all, the sales and quotation process is still fairly efficient. So if you take a traditional installer, they would visit a location, measure roof dimensions, they would have their own Excel or calculation model to generate a quote. And that process can take up to 5 hours. Now, at SolarMonkey, we deliver a piece of software that allows them to do that within 5 minutes. Then on the aftercare part, after installation, we also see that although installers want to upsell to other products, to EV poles, heat pumps, a lot of that opportunity is left untapped. So that's what we provide with SolarMonkey. So our product has 2 components, and the first component is design and sales. So on the basis of an aerial image in combination with 3D data, we allow our clients to remotely design a solar panel system, to calculate the yields and to generate a quote all within a couple of minutes. It is super easy to use, so I could teach any one of you within 30 minutes how to use SolarMonkey and to actually start selling solar panels. And we optimize the workflow of larger businesses through integrations with CRMs and field management. So you can really see us as the sales engine, as the business driver of solar suppliers. Then on the aftercare part, we help installers to provide impeccable aftercare by monitoring portfolios of solar panel systems, but also to drive more business, to upsell towards other products like heat pumps, charging poles, generating referrals through a client engagement portal. Now, with this growing market, there's a lot of market opportunity. So if we look at the total solar market by 2025, we're looking to a market that in total will approximate 200 billion euros. We estimate that with the business models that we envision, there's an addressable market of 8.2 million. And we are first targeting with the 2 business models already mentioned, so on the design and sales part and also on the aftercare part. However, we see in the future there's other potential business models. With the volume that's going through our software, we can also use our software to function as a marketplace. So with the volumes are now already 300,000 unique addresses per year going through the software, we can use it as a marketplace to source materials, to source installers, and basically bring together different parts of the supply chain in our platform. Just some statistics. So where are we now? So we are on the run rate revenue, just under 2 million annual revenue. We're active in 3 countries, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Spain. And the volume going through our software is about 300,000 unique addresses per year. That is done by just below 500 clients. We monitor 18,000 solar panel systems, and we've achieved all of that with a current invested amount of 1.6 million. So as said, we're on the market for a 5 million investment round, and we will use that to launch us into the next strategic horizon, launching in 10 European countries, but also further developing our product, increasing the features that we have and also increasing the revenue potential per client. And our forecast is to generate about 23 million of annual revenue by 2027. Then quick look at the team that's going to achieve this. So I said, my name is Pieter. I'm the founder and CEO. Tino is my co-founder, technical brain behind the software. Then we have Anne-Marie coming from the market with experience from Tesla, Zonnen, and UNU. So really a scale-up energy veteran. And in total, we are with a team of just over 30 FTE. Then nice to mention, we won a couple of awards. So we've been nominated by Deloitte as the most disruptive innovator, maybe a bit of a buzzword, but nevertheless very proud to achieve so. Top 50 growing tech companies in the Netherlands. and also awarded as, in the renewable energy world's most influential solar people under 40 years old. This was already a couple of years ago, but I'm still under 40, so I think that still counts. Of course,
thanks a lot, Jan. Sorry to interrupt, we're running out of time, but great progress and achievements so far. I'm sure
that was it for me, so thank you so much.
Questions.
Hey, super good presentation, and congrats to building revenue to almost 2 million. That is awesome. I'm one thing, when you thought about future business models, have you thought about financing and enabling more people to have access to this? And why did you decide not to go that route?
What a great question. Yes, we considered. We actually had a lot of discussions with Santander, a Spanish bank, providing financing and loans for solar panel providers. The reason that we did not pursue that option at the time is because, well, the value and the revenue potential that we could gain from that deal wasn't bigger than the potential that we saw in other opportunities. We're always estimating, well, what's the value versus effort? And this one didn't come out on top. But I agree that it's definitely an interesting direction, and maybe if new opportunities pop up, definitely worth considering as well.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jan. Good to see you. I was wondering, like, currently in the market, you see quite a lack of technical talent. Is that something you expect to hamper your growth?
Difficult question. I mean, I think there's a myriad of challenges when you are growing your company, and like finding the right technological talent is one of them. And we have our strategies to find really good talent, to grow our talent, and to retain our talent. So at the moment, yeah, we have all the vacancies filled, and we're happy with the people that we have. We're going to skip with a new investment round. Yeah, we're going to heavily scale up again. Yeah, we will see how much of a bottleneck it will be, but we're considering all kinds of different options, and we have a plan in place to attract as many of the best talents as possible. So I think we'll manage.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jan. And we'll speak later on in the breakout rooms.
All right. Thank you so much.
So moving on, we should have our last startup for today, Naked Energy, Jonny Williams. Who should be joining us. Yep. Hi, Jonny, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm just sharing my screen. Do you have me?
We see you, but we can't see your screen.
Okay. And can you see me now?
Yep, now we can. Please go ahead, Jonny.
Great. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Naked Energy is a late-stage startup going on scale-up, and we are focused on the decarbonisation of heat. We're a design and manufacturing company for solar products. We've been involved in the Climate-KIC since 2012, as a graduate of the program, of course, and also as a venture competition winner. We secured our Series A investment back in November 2019, and that enabled us to grow our commercial and technical teams. We're now looking towards our Series B funding round of around 12 million euros. And we also manufacture our products in the UK and in Italy, and have a view for further expansion for manufacturing later. We're focused on the decarbonisation of heat. In Europe and further afield, we're doing very well in terms of decarbonising the power sector, and that electricity can be used for transport and it can be used for heat through heat pumps. But really, heat is over half of global energy demand and 40% of emissions. So there are lots of opportunities in this area. We have developed Virtue, which is the world's highest energy density solar technology. On the left, we have Virtue Hot, which uses the sun's energy to generate hot water. It's solar thermal. And on the right, we have Virtue PVT, generating hot water and also electricity. Both products use a tube, which is a vacuum, and a reflector. The vacuum reduces convective heat losses, and the reflector gains more energy from space that is normally wasted. So as a result of this, the USPs are along the lines of very high temperature output, very high energy density per unit area compared to our competition, and also our customers don't need to use any gas for their heating, or indeed any electricity for the heat pump heating. So they're free of the utilities as well for up to 60 or 70% of their load. As a result, we can perform very well against solar PV for the same roof area, more expensive at the start, but much better overall savings. And a similar story for carbon emissions as well. You can have confidence in our product because we're fully certified for Virtue Hot through TÜV Rheinland in Cologne, and Virtue PVT is going through the same process. And we have various other certifications as well. We're also award-winning through some engineering prizes. We're really redefining solar thermal, solar to generate hot water. A few years ago, you would not have had monitoring platforms. Now, of course, we can look at temperature, pressure, voltage, flow rate, etc. And this is fantastic for proactive maintenance and also for performance validation. To date, we have completed over 25 different systems in 6 different countries. A lot of our activity is focused in the Netherlands currently. We've also recently completed installations in Switzerland, and target markets are in Italy, Germany, and North America. We're very much focused on hotels, industry, textiles is a good one, fast-moving consumer goods, food and beverage, and multi-residential. Quite diverse, but the key thing is a requirement for heat. We're just about to start on the British Library, an iconic Grade 1 listed building in central London, and we have 2 leisure centres in the UK of a similar size about to start. So thank you very much indeed.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jonny. Really interesting.
Thanks. The first question is basically we know solar is growing quickly here, and who are the optimal customers? You mentioned a quite diverse group of customers. Who are the optimal customers to switch to your solution compared to having a regular PV?
Really, any customer where they have a significant heat load over the course of the year. Because it's primarily led by heat, you need to have a local use. With PV, you can feed the power back into the grid and sometimes share with your neighbors, of course. So in this situation, a hotel is very good because they have swimming pools, laundry, kitchens, everything that comes through the taps as well. Industry, for low temperature and medium temperature uses, our products can generate up to 110 degrees Celsius. So we're into the realm of medium temperature industrial processes, or preheat for textiles, fast-moving consumer goods. We've been pitching to companies that make a lot of shampoo, global companies, and also global hotel chains. In Switzerland, it's a very nice agricultural process looking at exotic citrus fruit production, and we provide top-up heat to the glass houses. So quite diverse, but we need to have heat requirement.
Okay, cool. And what is the cost difference, the initial cost difference in terms of the installation?
Sometimes up to twice as expensive as solar PV. We tend to have paybacks between 5 and 10 years without subsidy, which would be generally similar to PV, but the overall net present value and internal rate of return tends to be higher.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so I think that's it for the questions for now. I think we're done with all the startups for today. So thank you, Jonny, and for everyone else who's joined us. As a next step now, we'll be moving on to the breakout rooms. So we'll have each of the startups in a different room, and all the attendees can choose a room and go in and interact with these startups. So you have 20 minutes for that. I think everyone in the homepage should click on the sessions tab, and there you should have access to the 10 different rooms. So thank you, everyone, and we'll just be moving on to that and then have a few minutes just to wrap up. So welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our session today and the pitches from our startups. Was quite an interesting lineup of startups, but we hope to also have more interesting startups in the future. So please stay tuned for future events. We have a number of additional exciting events lined up during the course of the year. So please stay tuned for that. For any additional information around the startups or to connect with any of these startups, feel free to reach out to myself or any of the other members of the team. Also do follow us on social media. We are quite active on our LinkedIn pages, so you can stay up to date with our latest events. Again, I also want to remind you all to register for the ClimAccelerator Marketplace, where you can see the startups presented today, as well as all the other startups that have gone through our accelerator programs and that are currently raising capital, and you can basically connect directly with them. I'd also like to give a special thank you to Laura and Joel for taking the time today. I know they're quite busy, and they're taking 2 hours to give us very good insights and really give us some very good questions to these startups. So thank you both, and thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice
Thanks a lot. Speak soon. Bye-bye.